Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we'll be looking at Starfield's performance on PC. Now specs wise, I'm running this game on RTX 3070 with 8GB of VRAM, Intel i5-12400F CPU, which is 6-core 12 threads CPU, 16GB of DDR4 memory and NVMe SSD. By the way, you will find the specs of my PC in the description below. So the question really is, can this game be run at stable 60 frames per second on PC? And I would say yes for the most part, but with some tweaks, of course, right? And I will show you my tweaks for sure. So before I actually run the actual game, let's check the settings. So this is the settings I'm actually using right now, which is basically a mixture of medium and high settings. I'm running this game in 1440p, but using FSR2 with render resolution scale set to 50%. But I'm also using a DLSS2 mod, which allows me to play this game using DLSS. So DLSS offers pretty much the same performance, so that doesn't change anything. But what it does, it offers a better image quality, right? So, you know, thanks to that, I can actually drop the resolution to like 50% resolution scale, and that game still looks good, right? I'll probably make another video about this DLSS mode because, yeah, it's, you know, we're going to be looking mainly at performance here. Okay, so that's my settings. There you go. Obviously, I did turn off grain, film grain. I don't like it. Motion blur is set to low. Yeah, low. Let's leave it like that. So gameplay. So as you can see, in close quarters, it's 60 frames per second. GPU load is set to 70%, 60 depends on the stuff, but obviously you would expect a pretty good experience, pretty good performance in like the buildings and stuff. So let's actually go outside and see how that game actually performs in like this place. So once it loads, it's actually mostly 60 frames per second. Now I wanted to also mention that I'm actually running OBS, recording that video while I'm playing the game. So usually I would get normally 2-3 frames more. I mean, it's still 60, so but I'm talking about like GPU utilization and CPU utilization would be a little bit lower without me running OBS, right? So take that under consideration. So as you can see, I'm actually getting 60 frames per second for the most part. And what I actually found, this place, this city, and actually this location in the city is actually one of the most demanding ones. And as you can see, when I'm actually looking at this huge building over here, I'm actually getting pretty bad, well, not like around 50, but like I said, this is just like this particular place, while for the most part I'm actually getting around 60 frames per second. Obviously that depends on the crowd density. I could actually lower that too, but and I guess maybe I should actually really, sorry. So let's actually change the crowd density to medium, and let's actually check that again. So now it's 60, of course. Yeah, maybe I went a bit too overboard with crowd density, but maybe, I don't know, we'll see. As you can see, I'm still getting 60. By the way, I will actually test low, medium, high and ultra settings in a minute. I just want to show you how that's going to affect performance too. So now we are actually same place, and I'm getting, well, maybe it's a little bit better, I guess, but it's still around 55. So yeah, but like I said, guys, like there's going to be like literally just few places like that where I'm getting like 55 frames per second. So that doesn't really bother me much. So generally speaking, using these settings, which I showed you, I'm getting pretty stable 60 frames per second. Like obviously I didn't explored like whole of the game yet, but the places I've been, and I was in one more city which is actually smaller in scope, and then I'm actually getting like 62. So like I said, like guys, this is the most kind of demanding place in this game. I mean, so far I experienced, so we'll see. So anyway, so that's my settings. So well, let's do a little bit of experiment. Let's load low settings and see how that actually goes. By the way, when you change the overall graphics preset, make sure you keep the render resolution scale at whatever you want this to be set, because it actually changes with settings. There we go. Like if we go from medium to high, the render resolution scale actually goes up, and which is fine, but obviously that's going to be way more demanding, right? Okay, so let's check this game on low settings. Everything loads on the fly, and as you can see, the GPU utilization went down from like 90 to 80, and even this place now it's 60. And by the way, you know what's very interesting is that low settings don't necessarily look good. Like, you know what? Like, I will probably need the Digital Foundry to tell me where exactly the differences are, because like medium, high, the game is still very similar. I guess, like, you know, some of the like trees maybe loses some detail and stuff, but like games still look good. Like, so it's not really, I'm not even sure if actually like running this game at high or ultra settings makes much sense. Not ultra, because ultra apparently doesn't really work well on NVIDIA cards. So as you can see, you know, the GPU utilization is much lower, so you will get much stable experience. Can go over there, so that's still around 80%. Okay, so let's actually switch to medium, which is pretty much what I was running the game at. So the GPU utilization goes up to like 95 now. So well, okay, maybe I guess shadows looks better, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it looks a little bit better, but it's not like day and night difference. Sometimes when you run games at low settings, like the game just looks like shit, but this time around, especially textures, and there's no textures settings, by the way, in this game. At least not in the game's menu, because I don't know about like other. So yeah. Oh, I can use jetpack over here. I didn't know that. So I would say that if you're in New Atlantis and you are in this, I think that's the residential area, or maybe not. That's actually very close to the constellation. So if you can run, if you can make this game to run at 60 frames per second in this place, you will pretty much have like a, you know what, looks like in this place I think we are CPU bottlenecked. I know that the GPU is at like 99% too, but yeah, it looks like there's a lot of people walking over here, so it may have some effect on it. Okay, so let's actually change the settings to high now. Make sure to lower the render resolution scale. So yeah, going from medium to high. Okay, so that's actually has a pretty significant effect on performance. So even when I'm not looking like this way, which, you know, did produce lower frames even on low settings, even in this situation I'm getting like 50. So as you can see, my RTX 3070 is struggling to run this game now. So you can only imagine that if I switch to Ultra, that will make things even worse. And by the way, I mean, there's going to be some locations in the game which will run at stable 60 frames per second with high settings still, because like not every single location is as demanding as this one. Because as you can see, like this location is pretty spacious and pretty populated with like people, and there's a lot of like flora and fauna actually, like trees and bushes and everything, and there's some like shadows, and so that all that requires a lot of power, right? Let's switch to ultra settings for our minute. That's going to be fun. Okay. Yeah, 30 frames per second experience, guys. Now, the real question is, does the game look better? I would say, yeah, it looks better. I think, like, yeah, the lighting and everything. But hey, it comes with a price. The price is pretty steep to pay. 40 frames per second, 45 frames per second is not the way you would like to experience this game. So, generally speaking, like for me, a mixture of like medium and high settings is the perfect spot. And I'm playing this game like, I've been playing this game for like 10 hours now, actually. Maybe even more, a little bit more, because I was playing on the consoles too. And a mixture of medium and high settings is the best for me, at least for my card, right? And I was actually a little bit worried that maybe my CPU is not going to be good enough for this game, but I didn't actually notice so far any major issues with like CPU, to be honest with you. So there's hardly any stutters. Like obviously when the game loads, it loads. Loading screens are actually pretty fast, so that's good. Okay, so let's go back to the settings I'm typically using. So what I'll do, I'll go with medium, and then the lighting, reflections, particle. No, actually that can stay on medium. No, that's grass quality, contact shadows, that's fine. Not sure what's that. Oh, that's ambient occlusion. Okay, let's set it to high. I think I had ambient occlusion at medium, so yeah, ambient occlusion is probably going to... Okay, let's switch it to... Wrong button, sorry. Let's switch it to medium. Okay. So we are back to 60 frames per second. And like I said, like for the most part, of course, and there's sometimes I get a little bit of stutter here and there, but like for the most part, I'm actually getting a very good experience with this game. So I'm actually pretty happy with that, because like I was afraid at first, like obviously that still makes this game pretty demanding, because having that game running at some pretty low resolutions, right? Because let's face it, like this game is running at 720p and is being upscaled to 1440p by DLSS, so that says a lot about the GPU utilization, right? So that game still is pretty demanding. It's just DLSS makes it look, actually pretty sharp, right? It's actually it looks pretty good. With FSR, actually, FSR2, the game is much blurrier. So I will have another video about FSR2 and DLSS, so you will be able to see the difference. But for now, guys, that will be all, I think. So that's the game. That's the benchmark. Yeah, it's actually not too bad of an experience on PC. I was afraid that it's going to get hammered by on the CPU side of things, but yeah, it's actually not too bad, at least not on my Intel i5-12400. So guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.